He would sequester himself, keep himself to himself. He wouldn't allow his father to have any effect on him at all. He found in his suitcase the books he'd brought with him. History 2, Add Maths, Statistics, Contents and Meaning, Macbeth, and, at the bottom of the case, wrapped in his pajamas, a book he'd taken from his mother's shelf. Adjusting the books around it to close the gap it had left, Dark Obsession, subtitled A Passionate Story of Love Overshadowed by Memories of the Past. On the cover, a man with wavy golden hair, his shirt open to his waist, his chest gleaming like a shield, was turned towards a woman, her chin tilted up at him, her eyes closed, her fingers curling at his shoulder. Fahad opened the book and reread the first line, which was delicious, then closed it, buried it at the bottom of his case, and tucked the case beneath his bunk, pushed the edge out of sight with his toe. His mother would be packing for London today. Her cases would be open across the bed, her shoes in their shoe bags nestled against one another, her freshly laundered outfits laid out over the bed cover in their plastic sheaths. On the plane, they liked to sit in the seats at the very front. "So we're first to arrive," his mother would say with her little laugh sharp as cut glass. Everyone wanted those seats, but his mother spoke just so to the attendants at check-in. It was never as though she were asking for a favor, rather that they should want to do her a favor without her having to ask. It was in the tilt of her chin, the way she held their gaze and pressed her perfectly painted lips together, the way she narrowed her eyes and nodded them towards the conclusion she wanted, a conclusion that was somehow inevitable. Even the London apartment they borrowed from his father's friend, dark as it was with the musty smell of damp with shadows creeping up the walls, she'd fling the curtains open, raise her head towards the outside stairwell as though it were glorious sun. She'd plump the tired cushions on the sofa. She'd tidy the crystal ornaments on the side tables. She'd buy tight little bunches of narcissus from the corner shop and arrange bouquets around the house. And it would become somewhere different. Their English cottage, and barely a short walk from Harrods. "Will it be all right?" he'd asked about Abad, once the rage had subsided, once his tears had dried against his pillow, once he had abandoned all hope of changing his father's mind. "No," she said, touching her papery fingers to his face, smiling sweetly. "It will be terrible," and she'd laughed. "Horrible," she'd shuddered and then confessed. "I haven't been, of course, but when we married, Rafik and I, hordes of them came from there, dark and ragged, and danced, spinning like dervishes late into the night, shrieking and hollering round a fire like savages." Why did you do it? He wanted to ask her of the wedding. Why? He wanted to ask her and shake her by her thin shoulders. The train passed within a tangle of motorways, some half-finished, some ending mid-air, protruding rusting girders from their concrete slabs. Giant trucks queued at a toll station. The train sped beyond them, and now there was only desert. Pale, flat sand dunes to the horizon, an occasional bush of some spidery plant. His heart became loud and knocked urgently against the front of his chest. He imagined Karachi receding into the distance, and he had to see it. He ran down the passageway outside his room to the door through which he'd climbed into the carriage. Its handle was a giant lever, which he gripped as though he might with all his weight release it. He lowered a window in the door and leaned out as far as he could, the hot air whipping grit at his cheeks and in his ears, but all he could see was the rest of the train, the other carriages snaking behind out of a shimmering haze. He shouted. He cried out as shrilly as he wanted. Sounds, not words, that the wind snatched from his mouth, made vanish. But even here, beneath the whup of the wind about his head, he could hear the sound of his father's voice, hear him calling his name, and when he ducked back into the carriage, he heard it once again, more clearly, from the room at the other end of the passageway.